Good evening to all of you, and thank you for joining us on 13 Plus. I'm Mary Coleman. Hope you're enjoying your evening so far. Well, outdated laws could make it easier for scammers to carry out what's known as deed theft. Our National Investigative Team explains how this type of fraud is carried out and what you can do to protect yourself from it.
Losing your home to thieves might be easier than you think, thanks to outdated laws in states across the country.
It's a type of fraud known as deed theft. It's one Robert Elder knows about all too well. He owned his home in Atlanta since the 70s. In 2023, he said someone filed 3 deeds on his home to transfer the property to a different name.
The deed to transfer title has your signature on it.
Somehow or another it was, but I don't know who put it on there.
Mr. Elder did not sign these documents. Absolutely none. I mean, this is stealing.
Robert lives in Georgia, where no photo ID is required to file a deed, leading fraudsters to forge transfers to steal home titles.
We'll talk about the solutions Georgia has created and the steps you can take to protect your deed.
But first, reporter Sierra Cummings takes us about 20 miles outside of Atlanta, where another family is fighting for more than just their family member's home.
This is the back of the house.
A walk around this Lithonia property.
Watch your step.
Is a somber stroll down memory lane for Trayvon Brown.
It's very emotional. I had a lot of memories,
About 2 decades worth. A family home his 69-year-old Uncle Evans Lee Jr. owned. Now, the family ownership is gone, and so is Uncle Evans Lee Jr.
Every time I come here, I just want to cry, bust down and cry because he gone. That's the only person I had left in my life.
Although Evans died in 2022, the case of alleged fraud only just began to unravel.
I would like to see Mr. Watson prosecuted to the full extent.
He's talking about Randy Watson. The family filed a police report against the 43-year-old who submitted paperwork in probate court days after Uncle Evans Lee Jr. died. Randy sought to inherit whatever assets remained. This probate court petition shows Randy signed a sworn statement that he was the only child and sole heir. No additional proof or supplemental documentation was required. As a result, the probate judge appointed Randy Watson the administrator of the estate. Randy gained access to everything his father, Evans Lee Jr., left behind. Just one problem. Evans Lee was not his father. In fact, Evans Lee was no father at all. He had no kids, which means Randy Watson is not his son, not even close.
Who is he to Mr. Evans?
He's not related to him.
A certified DNA test proved it. The results show Randy is not even a family member, that there is a 0.00% chance the late Evans Lee Jr. was his dad. This was a court-ordered paternity test, which only came after the True family got wind someone filed probate paperwork on their uncle's estate before they could. Trayvon and his wife learned about it once they tried to file their own probate paperwork. After more than a year of waiting, a judge ruled in favor of Trayvon and his family, citing there was neither evidence to prove paternity nor documentation that Randy had a right to inherit anything. By the time it was proven Randy was not the so-called sole heir, and the judge ordered everything to be turned back over to the True family, it was too late.
There was never an opportunity to go in the home, clean the home out, none of that.
Cleared it all out.
Cleared it all out.
The DeKalb County home itself foreclosed and auctioned off. Most of the belongings and sentimental items gone too. None of it as valuable as Uncle Evans Lee himself. An urn with his ashes also nowhere to be found. When officers asked, Randy told police he'd been robbed of all the items, the valuables, the money, and even Evans Lee's ashes, according to this police report. An allegation the family does not believe. Receipt records from a local disposal company in the time period Randy had access to the home. The receipts revealed items were moved from the Lithonia property at least twice last year, more than 60,000 pounds worth. The most unbelievable matter for the family begins here. Trahan maintains his uncle was adamantly against cremation, that he wanted to be buried alongside his wife.
But he was cremated.
Yeah.
And whose decision was that?
Randy Watson.
It goes back to this funeral home, FL Sims. The owner confirmed Randy Watson identified himself as the son and told the business to cremate Evans Lee Jr. The funeral home did not require proof of kinship or an ID or any other documentation. They simply took his word for it.
Is the attorney here, the director here?
No one's here.
When asked to talk about this case and its policies, the funeral home would not interview with us. There is no Georgia law that requires a funeral home to confirm if someone is truly next of kin. And because Evans Lee died while in hospice, the funeral home was tasked with completing the death certificate. Based on the information they say Randy provided to them, they filled in the death certificate, a document now riddled with false information. Decedent's son, Randy. Wrong. Again, Evans Jr. had no children. Decedent's birthplace, Nebraska. Wrong. Evans Jr. was a Louisiana native. Decedent's father's name? Unknown. Wrong. Evans Lee was a junior, meaning his father shared the same name.
Because ain't nowhere in the world you could just let anybody come in your establishment and say, hey, I am the next of kin, without even checking their background and seeing if it's true.
Probate attorney James Clifton.
I've seen cases that are, absolutely heartbreaking where things like this happen because the person committing fraud, they have no care.
And it's hard even being on the property right now, just looking at it.
Evans Lee Jr. worked in construction, fixing homes, fixing problems for others. His family hopes to fix this for him.
Uncle Lee was a good man. He did a lot of things for a lot of people. Lots of people.
I reached out to Randy Watson multiple times. He did not agree to an on-camera interview, but he told us and the judge that he knew Evans Lee when he was a teenager. DeKalb County Police Department opened a criminal investigation, and finally, this case was referred to the state licensing board to investigate the funeral home for its policies.
Sierra, since you're reporting, Georgia says it will have more protections in place for homeowners?
Yeah, that's right, Tisha. Beginning in 2025, a new Georgia law requires an ID when filing a deed. It also requires notaries to keep track of all the deeds they notarize by including dates, times, locations, and the type of identifications.
So what can homeowners do to protect themselves from a situation like this?
I spoke to a probate attorney who encourages that we have 3 documents that we secure before our death: a will, a power of attorney, and a medical directive. Since Evans Lee did not have a will, the attorney says it made exploiting the probate process easier. It feels like it's too little too late.
Right. It's unfortunate because that is oftentimes the result, is that the bad actor receives the funds, by selling the property or whatever, and then it's gone. They spend it.
In 2023, Florida enacted a law allowing clerks in Lee County to require a photo ID for a deed transfer. If the legislation is a success, the program would expand statewide after 2025. Many states and local governments have set up property registries where homeowners are alerted when paperwork is filed in their home. You can find that information at your local clerk or recorder's office.
All right, everyone. Again, hope you're having an awesome evening. Here's a live look from our Mount Bigelow camera. We hope you'll join us for 13 News Live at 10 for more of your news and weather. Stay warm out there. We'll see you soon.